So today's story time is definitely an insane one that I've been waiting to tell for a while now. The reason I haven't told it yet is because my friend requested me not to for years because he just didn't want to have me tell it on YouTube for some reason. But the other day he gave me the okay finally. So I'm here, I'm telling it. I hope you enjoy it. Leave a like on the video if you do. And let's get into this right now. So, today's story time all starts off as a regular day in 2016. I was just hanging out in my room on my computer playing some CSGO. Pretty much all I did back then was just play CS and make videos. So I was playing some CSGO, getting some gameplay, enjoying my life, having a nice peaceful day, and my friend Jake hits me up. Now Jake, he was not a bad kid, but definitely a kid that got into trouble more frequently than others. He sold a little bit of weed, stuff like that. Well, Jake hits me up and he's like, yo man, what are you doing tonight? You want to come just ride around for a bit, listen to some music, get some food? I was like, yeah man. And that's pretty much all we could do at the time because it wasn't really summer. So, there wasn't a lot of stuff open late. The weather wasn't very nice. So we pretty much would just get food and then drive around and blare music and hang out with our friends in empty parking lots and just kind of talk. It wasn't really anything fun, but I miss those days. But anyway, yeah, he picked me up. We went and got some food at Taco Bell. And then we started driving around just listening to some music, just talking. We picked up another friend of ours. And yeah, that was it, right? We thought it was just going to be like that. Well, then randomly, Jake gets a phone call while he's driving from some random number. Wasn't even in his contacts. He answers it. And I can't really hear what the guy on the phone said. But all Jake said was, yup, I got you. I'll be right there. So he hangs up. And like I said earlier, Jake sold a little bit of weed. So he's like, hey guys, sorry, I just gotta make a stop real quick. And when he said make a stop real quick, I thought he meant drop off some weed. So, I was like, whatever, no problem. So we drive to this random house. Jake gets out, goes in the trunk, grabs whatever he was getting, and then goes into the house, comes back out 5 minutes later, and we drive off and just continue listening to music and doing our thing, right? And then he gets another call. Gets another phone call. This time it was someone in his contacts, some dude named George. Answers the phone. Same thing. Had to go drop off some to this guy. We do that. Gets back in the car. And I asked Jake, I'm like, are you just dropping off weed to them or something? Because, that's what he sold. At the time, it was only weed, or so I thought. And he's like, yeah, just weed. And I was like, okay. So we keep driving after this. And Jake, being the dumbass driver that he is, after about 5 minutes of getting back on the road after dropping off that weed, quote unquote, he runs a red light. He runs a red light right by the house we were just at, blows right through it, and of course, there's a cop right there. And he sees us run the red light, and immediately the cop whips out and starts coming after us, right? Pulling us over. And Jake's like, fuck, dude, god damn it. And my friend in the back seat's like, bro, you shouldn't have ran that red light. And Jake's like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, dude, relax, just pull over. He might not even give you a ticket. He might just give you a warning or something. Let's just pull over. So he pulls over. The officer pulls up behind us, parks his car, walks up to us, asks for license and registration. Jake gives it to him. I give him my ID. The person in the back gives him his ID. He identifies all of us, asks us where we're coming from. We just said that we were driving around after getting food, listening to music like we normally would. And then he goes, I smell weed. Anyone in the car got weed? And that was because our friend in the back seat was smoking a joint an hour before, and it still smelled like weed. And we just turn around and look at my friend in the back seat, and he goes, yeah, officer, it was me. Sorry, I smoked a joint earlier, and the smell really hasn't dissipated. And the officer's like, okay, that's all right. No big deal. Was it just a joint? Is there any more I should know about? And the kid's like, no, it was just that. I promise, you can search me if you want. He's like, no, I believe you. It's okay. Don't gotta search you. He's like, honesty goes a long way. You're honest with me, I'll be nice to you guys. And we're like, okay. And then he looks at my friend Jake in the driver's seat, and he calls him by name. He's like, Jake, do you know why I pulled you over today? And Jake's like, I have a feeling. I didn't see the light change. I blew right through it. My friend in the passenger seat said that he saw me go through it. I had no idea, which was a fucking lie, by the way. I didn't say that. Jake saw it turning red, and he sped up. He was just trying to get out of trouble. And the officer goes, oh, okay. Well, yeah, you're right. You ran a red light, so I pulled you over. Can't be doing that. You got to pay better attention to the road and the lights and everything ahead of you. So, yeah, that's why I pulled you over. Just give me a quick second. I'll be right back. So he goes back to his car, runs all of our IDs and stuff, checks us for warrants, all that stuff, comes back up to the driver's seat, and he goes, Jake, can you step out of the car for me? And Jake's like, why? He goes, can you just step out real quick? Turn the vehicle off, please? And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And Jake reaches for the fucking shifter and tries to put the car in drive and drive off. And the officer jumps into the window, essentially, leans onto Jake's lap and grabs his hand off the shifter and stops it. And he's like, get out of the car right fucking now. And he like swings the door open and gets Jake out by force. And he puts him in handcuffs. And I'm just sitting there. And my friend's just sitting there in the back seat. And we're just looking at each other like, what the fuck did Jake do? And throws him in handcuffs, sits him down on the grass right in front of the car. And then he tells us to get out of the car. And we do. And he doesn't handcuff us. He just sits us right next to Jake. And then some other officers pull up. They start talking to us, asking us, how we know Jake. And the other officer, the main guy, is still talking to Jake. And we still have no idea why Jake tried to run, why the officer was telling him to get out of the car. Like, something must have happened when he ran his ID, right? Or like when he ran his name through the system. So I just asked this police officer, the one that just pulled up and was talking to us. I'm like, sir, why are we like here right now? Like, what happened? Like, what's wrong? Why is Jake getting arrested? Like, what's going on? And the guy goes, so the officer ran a warrant check and your buddy has a warrant. And when he tried to run, obviously the officer intervened and that's why it went the way it did. It wouldn't have been that way if he didn't try and run. And I was like, oh, okay. And that confirmed it. Jake had a fucking warrant. And I asked, I was like, what was the warrant for? And Jake is close enough to me to where he hears me ask that. And he goes, nothing, it's bullshit, don't worry about it. And the cop doesn't really answer my question. He kind of goes back to talking to one of the other officers and just kind of ignored my question. So I was like, okay, like, still don't know what's going on. Like, why did he have a warrant? And eventually, the cop stood us up, told us we could leave, asked if we needed a ride anywhere. We said no. He said, okay, you're free to go. So we just walked away. Jake went to jail because he had an active warrant for his arrest. They found a bunch of weed in the trunk and charged him for that, because at the time, weed was still very illegal in New York. And I found out what the warrant was for. You want to guess? I'll let you guess for a second before I tell you. I talked to Jake's parents on the phone like a day later, and they told me he had a warrant for stealing from the store. Not just any store. He was stealing the dumbest shit ever. So here's all the shit he stole, okay? He took a bunch of jeans from some clothing store nearby. He stole candles, fucking candles, from a home store. Motherfucker cared so much about his room smelling like goddamn cinnamon that he fucking stole a bunch of fucking scented candles from a home store and a bunch of other shit. He stole some shoes. Like, he just went to the mall, essentially, and stole from a bunch of stores, and they got him on camera, identified him, and put a warrant out, essentially. Yeah, needless to say, Jake's parents were very upset with him. It was also very unfortunate because Jake stole all the stuff and got caught, like, pretty much a month after turning 18. So he got, treated like an adult and charged like an adult. I think if he was younger, like 16 or 17, he probably would have gotten off a lot easier. But because he was technically an adult, they treated him like one and tried him as one. So, yeah, he had to go to jail. He got bailed out very quickly. He was out within like a week, I'm pretty sure. It was very quick. But he couldn't see us anymore. His parents took his car away, all that stuff. He had to pay a bunch of fines. He was on probation for like a couple years. He was definitely in a lot of trouble. And yeah, I just think about what would have happened if he actually shifted the fucking car into drive. Because he was fully ready to just outrun the cops. And we would have fucking been in the car for that. And he probably would have been going like 100 miles an hour or faster. And like, who knows what would have happened. It could have ended so much worse. So yeah, moral of the story is, don't do what Jake did in this story. Very dumb stuff. And that's about that. I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace.